Hello everyone and welcome to the 100% first Berserker Khazan walkthrough. This is going to be a great sword playthrough, so that's what we're going to focus on. Since I know a lot of these walkthroughs either end up on spear or dual wield, I'm giving you a 100% walkthrough that is going to be great sword, so if that's your weapon of choice, stick around. Khazan is, if I had to describe it in one sentence, it's like if Neo and Sekiro had a baby. The mission structure, levels, loot design, all of that is like from Neo. But the gameplay, moment-to-moment gameplay, I think is in a lot of ways like Sekiro.
So this is how a hero ends up.
You think he's a traitor?
I'm also going to let cutscenes and dialogue play and show you the all of the stuff you can read with that you pick up. A lot of walkthroughs skip over that, but I'm going to make sure you can see it. So if you're just kind of wanting to watch this to enjoy the story of the game, you can as well.
A physical form.
So to start off here, you just need to limp to the first save point here. Reminds me of Lies of P, where you also are forced to just do this slow walk. It's a bird.
What happened? Your body, it's ours now. Our mission requires it. Surrender. Surrender to us now. You hear us. Join us. Or get out.
No! Stop!
I feel like they could have cut this walk in half.
Stop. You really want to die? Then embrace the energy of the blade if you want to live.
So this is a blade nexus.
Your body is
They're like the bonfires in this game if you played Souls games, or Stargazers, Lies of P, Sights of Grace, Elden Ring. That's what these blade nexuses are. All the same rules apply. You rest, you recharge your heals, and all the enemies will respawn.
That is what flows through you. Now, join with us.
In Khazan, you basically have a choice of 3 weapon styles. You can be dual wield, spear, or greatsword. You're forced to start off with dual wield. So you have a light attacks, which is on square if you're on PlayStation. You can also set this to Souls-like layout, and then the attack would be on R1. You do a 5-hit free. So, and then your heavy attacks on triangle, you can just breathe. 1, 2, 3. That's very effective for killing a lot of these grunts at the start. We're gonna tweak some settings here really quickly. They just added a setting to turn off the cutscenes, but I want them to replay in case I die, because I want to be able to show them to you. I don't want to show my helm either, because helms are almost always ugly. Just my opinion. So this game, you hold L1 to guard. If you do it at the exact correct time, it's like a perfect guard. They call it a brink guard.
Where is he?
You should get Traces of a Stranger trophy. It's gross that they cut our tendons. But we're okay now because this ghost-like thing is possessing us.
Here he is!
You can see 3 triangles, 3 heavies will take an enemy out. And over here there's going to be a Yeti. He will grab you. You can try to dodge it. That's what a brink guard looks like if you get the... Is this 2 hits? Let's see, he fell down. Now he's staggered, you can hit circle. You'll see that red circle and you should get finishing strike trophy. The game hasn't even told you about the brutal attacks yet. Now in this game you have sets that give you set bonuses. So we have gotten a first piece of a hound set, and it shows you can see at 2 piece you get 5% damage increase, your stamina recovery goes up with 3 pieces, 4 piece you get a 10% damage increase against beasts, which those Yetis are. So the goal is to get to the boss with 4 piece, which will happen if you do all the optional, side paths. In addition, we got a ring, so we'll equip all that. Oh, I accidentally unequipped my weapon. In addition, in our inventory, we got some junk to sell. You can sprint by holding in the stick, but it does drain stamina. And stamina is everything in this game. If you run out of stamina, you become exhausted, which means you just sit there and can't move or do anything. And that's the #1 way you're going to die in this. So you're going to be really careful with these guys. I find that what I like to do is I forced the guy with the arrows to... He had to come around the rock. I found that's a good way to deal with those. But a very, very common theme in this game is to have enemies where there's packs of 2 or 3 and you have an archer in the back. So now, you can also hit circle against a enemy if you sneak up on them from behind. So you can see this guy here, if we drop and we go slow, don't walk too quickly. Do that. If you didn't get your finishing strike trophy before you get it here, let's say you didn't get the Yeti, you can plunge enemies. So you can see there's an enemy right there. If we go off the edge when hit square in the middle of falling, we'll kill him. or nearly kill him. So these guys, when that have shields in front of them, you need to use a potent blow to get their stance broken. So that's triangle. Just keep hitting them. So we got some wrist guards. Very, very slight upgrade. So, you can go to gear and put things on your hotbar. I did it for you, but you can put any number of things on here. So for example, if I wanted to put the fire enhancer to enhance my weapon with fire, I could do that. That's a consumable. And then you hit down arrow to use the item. Oh! Well, I got the Combat Essentials trophy. I meant to use the lamp. I forgot that it would switch me to the enhancer.
A lacrima, a tear, a soul. Accept it. It will give us strength.
Now that gave you something called Soul Tear Dust.
Memories of the dead.
Soul Tear Dust is like the... You can spend it or use it to gain experience, Lacrima, but it also heals you. So in this game, what you actually want to do is hold on to them and use them as heals when you're out of flasks, essentially. Vitality Sphere is really good. It basically massively increases your stamina recovery rate, so that just kind of, stamina controls how much you can attack. You have to back off and get more passive when you're low on stamina. So you can use one of those if you're really wanting to press aggression. So I'm going to start off kind of equally upgrading Vitality and Endurance. Vitality is just health. It's the stat you raise when you want to raise your health bar. Endurance is the stat to raise your stamina. So just to show this. And then these are all damage stats for your respective weapons. So Strength is what you use for Greatsword. Willpower is what you use for Dual Wield. Proficiency is what you use for Spear. In general, you won't really be leveling anything but your Vitality, Endurance, and then the primary stat of your weapon. At least that's my recommendation. There's very little reason to waste points in the other stats, even though they do have sort of secondary benefits. So we're going to start off though just with Vitality and Endurance because we plan to eventually go to Greatsword, which will be Strength, but since we don't really have the Greatsword yet, we're just going to start off getting our Vitality and Endurance to let's see. And you should get an Upgrade Stats trophy. There's a little consumable up here. The guy. Concentrated Fire Essence is kind of like a grenade you can throw, but it'll leave a field of fire on the ground, so you can like position the boss to lure them in. So there's an archer in the back, so we kind of want to lure this guy in. Now this guy's gonna shoot at us. Can knock people off. Let's show that.
Die. I need to see my daughter.
So this next enemy requires charged potent blows, so it's holding down. You've got a Tears of the Soul trophy. You can see I died to this guy like an idiot. Now you can see I screwed up. That's what happens if you let your stamina run out. Now you can wail on him while he's hurt. So yeah, at some point you'll die and you'll reclaim your Lacrima and you'll get a trophy. So yeah, I was just getting it out of the way up front, totally. It's not that I'm terrible. I mean, it is worth covering this stuff. When you die, you leave your Lacrima on the ground. It looks like a glowing red sphere. And you can see that I picked it up and then retrieved it. If you die without getting back to it, then it will be lost forever and you'll lose that experience. So a tier summon stone, if you die, you can actually use that and just get your Lacrima back without having to run back to the glowing red sphere. So yeah, I totally died there on purpose to, you know, teach you all about. Just so that we could cover everything. Now you can, in theory, well, we'll just... You gotta be very careful with two. Because we're very, very weak at first here. Now this thing over here is a soul stone. You destroy all of them on a level, and eventually you're able to cash in the soul stones, the number that you destroyed, to like get some health recovery gain, a bonus to your spirit gauge. So you want to make sure you always get everyone on the level. Fire Spirit's Fuel is a grenade that you throw that just does immediate damage, rather than it's unlike Concentrated Fire Essence, which is one you throw that leaves a field on the ground. Now you are immune while you're doing a brutal attack, so you can see that. So with archers, right, like, you have two options. You either rush the archer and leave the other guy behind, or you kind of like, see what I did? I hugged this and line of sighted the archer so that I had time to deal with the melee combatant before dealing with the archer. So two different strategies, both tend to work. Eventually we're going to be able to hurl javelins at ranged enemies and just take them out. We're going to continue our evenly raising vitality and endurance. So here the ground will cave in. Rushing these guys can be very effective because they have a animation where they're climbing up. Okay, this one over here kind of relaxing. And again, don't run across the center there, it'll cave in. See that it did that. Alright, now we're going to head over here. You have an opportunity to practice your breakfall. Ambush trophy. And again, it's very effective, you can knock enemies off. Now come back over here and drop down here. And now there will be another monkey who will climb up here. And we fall, fall, and fall again. More soul tier dust. Now we have another Yeti. See, there's a little bit of lore to get here.
Ah! Yetis! There are Yetis here! Everyone run!
There is a soul stone up here. There are 3 total on the level. That's the way we came from. That's the way forward. There's an optional path over here. Before I go down, I want to check on my gear, have a better weapon. And in general, we want to keep the hound set. Any pieces we get. That's our priority, is to get to that 4-piece. Now there's another guy up there. There. As the game progresses, you'll be able to be a little less cautious, but like early on like this, 2 enemies is like, you actually, you know, have to worry. There's a guy up here. Out of stamina, so we're going to be very cautious. Okay. This guy's the most dangerous thing on this level. Right.
See that?
And we got our hound
It was a giant
gators,
yeti.
which is the feet. So now we're 20% stamina recovery. It's not bad. Yeah, I actually find that guy, I don't know why, I find that guy to be the most dangerous thing on this level. So there's a monkey. Get all 3, then you can pick up the loot. You notice a lot of fire. The Yeti is, of course, weak to fire, so...
Grab him!
This is a really annoying it's just kind of annoying because we don't really have any of our tools yet for dealing with things.
Help! Help me!
And there's quite a challenging boss over here. I actually like using this here. Got no stamina. Oh, whoops. there's a chest over here. I'll get you a necklace. You now have the fully equipped trophy. Then we come over here and we get Hound. So just in time for the boss, we now have 10% additional damage against beasts. In general, for bosses, you're going to want to think about, you know, what set gives me a big advantage. For example, against the third boss, there's a set that gives you plus 10% damage against the Dragonkin. It's a Dragonkin boss. Stuff like that. For the fourth boss, the Spider, there's a set that gives you, or sorry, fifth boss, there's a set that gives you poison resistance. So, you know, stuff like that. Notes on Yetis. Let's sit and learn about Yetis while it's shredding those soldiers. So if you let them just fight, especially if they get it staggered, you can take advantage of that. Because you can see I'm completely out of heals, so it's not really in my interest to, like, I kind of want to let them. Oh, managed to get his attention. You can see that the Yeti's nearly staggered. Trying to get in safely. You can see I took advantage of the stagger while leaving these guys dead. This is kind of the beginner way to do this. Just showing you the strategy, because, yeah, your first time playing this, you're probably going to get here with no heals, so as with most Souls games, you know, you can open shortcuts. So our boss is just right up there. Found Benji's tags. This will be relevant later for the story. And then that was one last little upgrade. Level 8, fighting the Yeti. On the off chance this takes me multiple tries, I'll just, after the cutscene, I'll go ahead and cut the video so it just goes right to the boss. Poor Yeti getting destroyed. Poor soldier's gonna get destroyed by the Yeti. So he has a lot of the same moves as the Yetis you fought on the level itself. He can throw a rock. I have no stamina, so I'm not going to swing. Now I'm backing off because I have no stamina. Taking it easy, getting stamina back. That's a rock. You gotta dodge that. Again, if I mess anything up, just see me back off. You see we've gotten him staggered. So now we can brutal attack him. Now he's going to pick up a rock. dodge at the exact right time. Okay, taking it easy, getting her stamina back. He's gonna breathe now, run behind him. Getting stamina back. Dagger. Should be enough to kill him. You get Ruler of the Frozen Mountain trophy. Every boss has a set, and they'll drop 2 pieces of the set, and they may drop a crafting material that can be used to make their set once we unlock the blacksmith later. So in the Yeti's case, it is the Frozen Mountain set, so I can show that here in a second.
What have we here?
You can now pick your difficulty. These terms are terrible. Okay, so easy is normal mode. Normal is hard mode. I mean, I want to emphasize that. This is normal and hard, not easy and normal. If you play it on easy, it'll be probably comparable in difficulty to like other Souls games you might have played recently, like Lords of the Fallen or Lies of P or whatever. If you play it on normal, the thing it most reminds me of is Stellar Blade on hard mode early on. Like, you don't have very many heals and the bosses are huge damage sponges. Like, they have huge health pools. Now, you can kill them a little more quickly if you're if you have a deep understanding of this game, you know how to min-max, you know how to take advantage, and you can actually reduce the kill time to reasonable numbers, but as you're learning the game, fights are going to take a long time. Another thing I want to warn you about is you can't go from easy back to normal. So if you ever drop down to easy, it's over. Like, that's the mode you're playing on. So think that through. Know that that's the way it works. They may patch this because there's a lot of people who are complaining, but at the time of this recording, that's how it works. But it may be that in the future they let you fluidly go up and down, because it doesn't really make much sense to not allow you to go back to normal mode. But yeah, we're going to play this walkthrough on normal mode. I'm assuming that that's what you're wanting to see gameplay-wise.
Are we awake, sir? You have a ghost possessing you. Apologies, but to conquer it, you must undergo the trials of the Snow Mountain. You must be careful. The ghost possessing you is a powerful one. It will be very dangerous to purge yourself of it.
Your body. We must have it.
You want to rid yourself of the ghost? Then this is the only way. You must prove yourself in the trials of the 3 Bantu gods in order to receive their blessings. After that, you must find a way through the storm at the mountain's apex. Take my advice. Let fate be your guide. This is the same trial Bantu warriors can choose to undergo. The trial will begin when you pick up the weapon. There will be 3 trials. The ghost
So each
inside
trial
you
that's
is
going to
no
come up in the
ordinary
second
one.
mission is
It has chosen you
for
with
each
the
weapon
powerful
style.
emotions that
But
followed the monster's
I actually feel
roar
like
and
this is
found
there's
you.
very poor level design
Maybe
here,
it was the
because
will of
they
the
force you to
gods.
pick up a weapon you haven't unlocked any skills for and
The
fight with it.
Empire
And it's
is our
actually
enemy,
easier to
Khazan,
equip
but
your old weapon with
still
the skills unlocked. and do the trial with the other weapon. So that's just something to know. Especially if you die once, you can very easily get the other weapon equipped. It can be tricky to switch weapons in combat the first time, but yeah, if you die, you can just come back with like... For example, I can do the spear trial with the great sword and stagger the enemies. So yeah. Kind of silly design. I feel like they should have let you pick up the weapon, spec skills into it, and then do the trial for the weapon. But they locked the skills behind completing the trial. Alright, and that concludes the first mission. Let's upgrade our stats. And then let me show you the Frozen Mountain set. So you can see I have gladiators here, so I could put on the Frozen Mountain top. But you can see that it's a tanky set, like if you're unscathed, which means you're uninjured. Oh, and if you ever want to learn terms, you can hit your main pad here, and it'll give you, you know, so unscathed applies an effect when Khazan's health is at 100%. So you can see that you actually take 50% less damage if you're uninjured, which is actually pretty great, right? You also recover 10% health on brutal attacks. And you have a damage increase, if you can get all the way to 6, you have a damage increase of 30% when uninjured. So that's like crazy. All these sets have very, very powerful bonuses, right? So here it's debatable whether there are a lot of beasts, the level's like all beasts, so losing 10% damage to gain a little bit more on your flask is not really that great. So for now I'm not going to bother with breaking the Hound set, right? So yeah, you have that consideration where you gotta sit here and think about like what happens, even though these sets maybe have lower defense, like what happens if I unequip them? Well, I lose 10% damage, which, you know, that's no good. Alright, and that is where we will stop. In the next episode, we will make our way through Storm Pass and do this complete mission. Until then, see you next time.